Welcome to a very special version of the Pitchy podcast. We are your hosts, James
and Stephanie.
Here on the Pitchy podcast, we are always passionate about a great vocal and a wonderful performance. While we are on the voice hiatus, which we believe will be starting very shortly,
next week,
we have a bone to pick with one another. Stephanie's brother, Phil, proposed this wonderful idea of taking a March Madness type bracket and plugging in gospel singers. So Stephanie and I said, you know what? How can we take this idea and take it to another level?
That's right.
Well, Stephanie and I were like, you know what? Let's talk about what we're most passionate about as far as the music genres go. And that would be 90s R&B. Well, 90s, 2000s.
I was this close to saying, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me.
And
unfortunately,
I know y'all remember when that song couldn't be played on some radio stations.
That
right. That would be considered calm today.
That's right.
Because they were really talking about something, salt and pepper. Hey, shout out to salt and pepper.
No, that was calling me. No. Oh, yeah. Who am I talking about? Oh, my God. Listen.
No, we're keeping that in, Stephanie. We keeping that in.
Listen. What do we always say, James? We are real people.
With real
doing
lives.
This in the midst of our real lives. And in real life, I'm tired. But I'm happy to be here.
Stephanie had a weekend and a half, y'all.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. All weekend alone with my wonderful children.
Yes, mommy daycare.
Yes, we had. Yes, we had a good time.
Made it through, and she's
yes, I did.
So Stephanie, we have some unfinished business to take care of because it's time to land this plane. It's time to wrap this puppy up.
Come on,
Stephanie. We are down to the final four.
We are. Unbelievable. Yeah, in our final four, we have Boyz II Men versus Destiny's Child.
Impossible.
And then we have 112 versus Shai.
How could you?
How could you? I didn't do this by myself. So those are our remaining four groups that we have to whittle down to two and then announce who our grand champion will be.
Oh gosh, where do we begin? You know, Stephanie, before we begin, I still have to give a rest in paradise to my female group extraordinaire. Stephanie got me on that one, but she had such a compelling argument I couldn't use. I just couldn't come to using my veto on Stephanie when she knocked out En Vogue because that was an impossible choice.
James, listen. I got a good one. James, you can't let go, can you?
Oh!
James can't let go. Can't let
go. I cannot let go. You know what? I'm still sad about that. But you know what? It's all in good fun. And I chose not to use my veto because, again, like I said earlier, Stephanie made such a compelling argument. I had to go with her. So here we are, Stephanie. Here we are.
Here we are.
So let's start with 112 and Shai.
Okay.
Stephanie, give us some stats before we make our final decision between the two.
Okay, so for 112, they are, again, a male group based out of Atlanta. They had 7 albums. They sold almost 6 million records. They had one hit on 3 different albums. Their hits included Only You, Cupid, Anywhere, Peaches and Cream, and they won a Grammy for their part in the tribute to Biggie, I'll Be Missing You.
Where do I go?
Oh,
What do I do?
Slim, Slim.
gosh, where do I go? What do I do? How do you choose? Because they are up against my hometown boys, because I am a DMV native. Stephanie's a DMV transplant, if you didn't know.
Yes.
She
Yes.
claims DMV now, but I am a DMV
Yes.
native. So I remember when this group busted out with Ooh, a da da doo da doot. And that's all I
Yes.
have to say. You can sing one line. In fact, no, first note, Stephanie. Ooh. And then everybody knows from this era, everyone knows what song I'm talking about.
And everybody can sing it. That's all they need to hear is that woo.
That's it.
They better da da doo da doo. That's it. You are absolutely right.
That's it. One note. That's a one note song, y'all. And I'm talking about Howard University's own Shai.
Yes.
SHAI.
Come on.
So tell us about Shai.
So Shai, as James said, is from DC, another male group. They met at Howard University. They had one platinum album, If I Ever Fall in Love. And they had 6 albums, but they only had one platinum album. They had 3 hits, 3 main hits. If I Ever Fall in Love was number 2, and Comforter and Baby I'm Yours topped out at number 10.
All about the 90s. You know, nobody was
Yes.
ever really pushy in
That's
R&B.
true. That's true.
They
That's true.
They All right, Stephanie. So 112 and Shai.
Yeah.
You want me to give mine first, and then we
give
can
your
discuss?
thoughts. Yes. Mm-hmm.
This one's really hard for me because even though the body of work with 112, like 112 had more staying power, meaning, like you said, their hits were spanned upon multiple albums. Shai's initial or freshman offering was the freshman offering, they went to Howard University.
Yes.
Freshman offering was so powerful. Like that album stood on its own because I had mentioned on the previous cast that there were 2 versions, the Acapulco version of If I Ever Fall in Love, and then the one with music, and then Comforter was one of my favorite songs. And then Baby I'm Yours was another kind of throwback doo-wop pop type song.
Right.
The thing is, though, and I had said this on the previous podcast, I'm really, as a singer, as a former professional singer or whatever, I am really into tones. Like when it comes to singers' tones, like that's what I think pulls both Stephanie and me in.
Yeah.
Because like it's one thing to sing wonderfully, but it's another thing like to have our ear caught and be like, who is that? Not only have our ear caught and say, who is that? But every time that person opens their mouth, you know who it is.
Come on, ear caught.
So, exactly.
Come on, I like that.
I'm going to have to go with 112 because I am just such, like I said before, such a Slim fan vocally. If 112, I know 112, they liked our podcast. I hope they watch us because there was, gosh, I don't know if I even should be saying this, but I will. I don't care. I remember being in Atlanta years ago, and my brother was a producer, and the guys from 112 probably know him or remember him from back in the day. Like he worked under JD and for a little bit and whatever. And there was a song, and I'll never forget this. I gotta ask my brother that he played me where it was like it never got released, and it was Slim singing some song. And I wish I remember. This is like 20 some years ago.
Okay.
And just remember hearing it and being like, this song is fire. And I don't think it ever got released. I don't know if it was 112. It may have been just Slim singing it by himself. Slim, if you watch, I wonder if you remember what that song was. Slim, you're probably like, there were a million of those songs. But I just remember hearing this song and be like, that's a bop. That's a bop. I love it. So yeah, so 112 is going to be in my final round. Sorry, Shai. Sorry, hometown guys. But I got to put 112 because again, they had a sound all their own. Stephanie?
Oh, I 1000% agree. I thought I was going to have to make more of an argument because I know how special Shai is to you, and I love Shai too. But 112, where do I go? Come on, like you said, Slim is like 90s R&B iconic. Like his sound, his tone, like I know, like
Right.
anybody, if I were to do that around a bunch of people our age, they would all know exactly what it is and who it is we're talking about.
Who it is and what group we're talking about. 100%.
Absolutely.
Wasn't that such a pure, it was a pure sweet sound.
Yeah.
It was never like in
Yeah.
the face. It was
No.
like a lullaby, like
Come on,
almost.
lullaby.
Like,
Yes.
here do I
Yes.
go? Like, I mean, we're overemphasizing it
Right.
for dramatic
Cupid.
effect, but it was just so effortless.
It was effortless, but there was also a passion behind it. Like
Yes.
when he says Cupid, like, oh,
With that little
doesn't love you.
we love you, Slim. We really do.
We love you, Slim. All right, so we have 112 moving on to the finals.
Finals.
Unbelievable.
And
Unbelievable.
I wish I could stall a little bit more because Stephanie, this next one is hurting my heart.
Ooh, this is a big one.
You're getting like two of the biggest groups
Yes.
of this era. Like one of them is the biggest, right?
Absolutely,
So,
yes.
it's, I mean, come on.
Come
we're
on
not
is right.
talking about Michelle Williams, Destiny's Child. We're talking about, I mean, LaToya and Latavia, Destiny's Child.
Yeah.
Early Destiny's Child, okay? We're talking the whole evolution of Destiny's Child.
Right.
And it's like, a lot of people, it's interesting because Destiny's Child, if I remember correctly, their first album did not really take off, Stephanie, until the remix of
This is the remix. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Remix. Whoop.
Whoop. You
Yes.
can say no, 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 no. When it's really come on.
To the White Club Jean remix, you know?
Come on.
And then everybody was like, who the heck is
like,
this? And they were children, you all. Children. They were 15, 16 years old.
That's right.
Singing it down.
Singing it down.
And it's like, and they were polished. That's the thing. People could not fathom, like, because they had such a mature sound.
Listen, they were, yeah. Go ahead. Keep saying what you're saying.
No. Please, you.
They were polished, but the way they sang their lyrics was very urban leaning. You know, nobody was singing like that. It was almost like this rap hip hop flow to this kind of poppy / urban beat. Like, and all their songs kind of had a bit of that. Like, right. I think that was like their stamp, like their sound is their stamp because it was really unique. It was really urban leaning, but like you said, it was polished.
Yes. I'm trying to go to just their second album, because their second album is the one that just was like hit after hit after hit after hit.
That's the Writing on the Walls, correct?
The Writing on the Wall, I believe, yes, is their second album. It was crazy because I'm looking at the producers. I'm looking at Missy. I'm looking at Rodney Jerkins.
Yeah.
That's when Beyonce started producing a little bit.
Okay.
So you got second album, right? Writings on the Wall. You got 99, Bills, okay? Candy Burris written, right? You got Bugaboo, right?
You make me wanna. Yes.
Throw my pager out the window. We just couldn't afford cell phones. We had
Come on.
pagers.
Pager.
Throw my pager out
Yes.
the window. And then,
Yes.
of course, say my name when the whole transition happened. And then, you know what?
Yes.
Let's not forget one of my other favorite bops from that album, Jumpin' Jumpin'. What?
Jumpin', jumpin'.
Beyonce sang her face out. She was singing on that album.
Shake, baby, shake, 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 twist, baby, twist. Yes. You better dip that thing.
Right. So then the evolution, Latavia and Latoya left, right? So
Yeah.
then Michelle enters Michelle, and then
Farrah.
and Farrah, yes, Farrah was like split second. Farrah was there for like in my name video,
She's
right?
like,
Okay. But then the next album is just stratospheric. Like that's when it went from R&B to pop R&B.
yeah. Yeah.
Because next time you got Survivor, Bootylicious, Emotions, Nasty.
Ooh. Ooh.
And then 8 Days of Christmas, which I thought was just a funny little ditty. That little
My
song.
baby gave to me.
So and then that's pretty much like you could have stopped right there on the on the previous album, because like when it was the three of them, it went like Supreme's level, right?
Completely.
Level. So, and that was all still in the early 2000s. This was before Beyonce. This was before Kelly Rowland.
Come on.
Before Gospel Michelle Williams.
Come on.
Before it, right?
Yeah.
Then you take that and you put that up against the biggest group of the 90s, Point Blank Curd.
Yeah.
You know what? We didn't even talk about the song that they did with, I used to call her Scary because I thought her voice was so scary. I called her Mariah Scary back in the day. I used to call her Scary because her voice was so scary. I'd be like, oh my gosh, did y'all hear Scary? And they're like, who are you talking about? You know, Mariah Scary. Scary.
What? No, the funny part is that makes so much sense. That's what's so funny about that comment. It makes so much sense.
I just call her Scary. I was like, because the voice is scary. So we haven't even talked about how many years, Stephanie, did that record hold of One Sweet Day? That duet?
Years? Oh, I don't know how many years.
It was some insane amount. It was like, I forget. But Stephanie, tell us a little bit about Boyz II Men and like all the crazy records that they had held.
Sure. So Boyz II Men, male group from Philly, 64 million records sold.
Yeah.
4 Grammys, 15 nominations, 9 AMAs, 7 Soul Train Awards, 12 albums in total. End of the Road was number 1 for 13 weeks. I'll Make Love to You was number 1 for 14 weeks. One Sweet Day was number 1 for 16 weeks.
Held the record. Boyz II Men, along with Scary, held the record for 23 years of the longest number 1 single of all time.
Okay.
23 years.
That's a long time. That's a long time.
Crazy.
Yeah. They had 5 number 1 hits in total.
It's very interesting. I'm looking here at, like, because we've talked about Boyz II Men so much, and I kind of want to stay on One Sweet Day for a second. I'm thinking back to when that song came out, right? And this wasn't on Boyz II Men's album. This was on the Daydream album of Mariah Carey. It just took on, the song it just kept going and going.
Right.
It's crazy. Do you remember this video, Stephanie?
Oh yeah.
in the
Oh,
studio.
absolutely. In the studio. It was the perfect way of doing a video like this because it it shows them, number one, it shows their interactions, which is light and fun. You know, it's kind of weird to say fun when you're talking about a song that has
Right.
the content that the song has.
Right.
But it was brilliant because you don't necessarily want to hear a song of this content and watch something sad. So whoever
Correct.
made that decision to just have them in the studio, because it was fascinating to watch them in the studio doing their thing.
And who am I?
So I,
Who am I?
you scary. You scary.
Remember, she was like this one ear. Remember that? Remember that?
With that finger. With that finger.
Oh gosh! And when she and Wanye did that little part, oh, it was crazy.
It was nuts.
Crazy.
It was nuts. It was.
Yeah. So this, I mean, for them to have the longest number one single for 23 years, that's basically a lifetime. That's basically what, a couple of generations.
Yeah.
That they have this record, and I think like Down Road was, and some other song, I think a Bieber song, where like the only one who ever beat it.
Yes.
And come on, like really?
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
So
now, since we did go over Boyz II Men stats, let me go over Destiny's Child stats again.
Okay.
Just for comparison, so Boyz II Men sold 64 million records. Destiny's Child sold around 60 million records.
That's crazy. I had no idea. But
okay.
Didn't a group that we eliminated have actually a higher sales number than them? Didn't TLC? Isn't TLC the highest?
I believe TLC was
female group of all time.
They had 65.
That's insane. And TLC got eliminated, y'all. That's how much staying power we gave Destiny's Child.
But guess who they got eliminated by? Boyz II Men.
Of course.
The only ones that could have eliminated them, basically.
The only ones that could have eliminated.
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to stay there.
No. We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep pushing forward. Yes. So where Boyz II Men had 12 albums, Destiny's Child had 5, including their Christmas album. Destiny's Child had 14 Grammy nominations. Boyz II Men had 15. Destiny's Child had 3 wins. Boyz II Men had 4.
Only 3.
Yeah. Destiny's Child had 5 AMAs. Boyz II Men had 9. 2 BET Awards, 2 VMAs. They both had 5 number one hit singles. So, looking at them, pound for pound.
Angels even on, was that its own soundtrack, or was it even on the Survivor album? I don't even know if that
Are you talking about Question? I'm not sure.
I don't know if that was on the Survivor album.
I'm not sure.
Because I think, wasn't that their biggest single of all time?
Did I write down their biggest? I don't remember if I wrote down which was their biggest. So I'm not going to say which was their biggest.
Yeah.
But it was probably either Independent Women or Survivor. That was their biggest.
True. That's true.
So here's a couple other interesting things that I thought about to add to this conversation. So I wanted to look up and see how long each of the groups were together or have been together and active. Active meaning still putting out new music. Now, I know that Boyz II Men are still touring, but I didn't include that. I only included like how long they had recorded for.
Right.
So Boyz II Men have been recording for about 27 years.
Wow.
Destiny's Child recorded together for about 16 years.
Wow.
From 1990, they got together in 1990.
Oh, Girls Time, remember?
To 2000. To 2006.
They were on Star Search. Anyone remember Star Search?
Oh, yeah. So I think that it's pretty fascinating that their stats, their numbers are as close as they are, even though Destiny's Child has only been together and active for about half the time that Boyz II Men was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that that's pretty cool. Also, I think that it is really interesting that all three members, current members or members now of
Hmm.
Destiny's Child, have had massive success individually.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
Beyonce,
Ooh, that's a point, Stephanie. That's a good point. That's a very
Beyonce, Kelly, Kelly. Can nobody do it like me? Like that was a legit bop. Her
yeah,
bop
yeah.
with
Love you. I mean,
"I
it's number one
Need
song.
You"
It's the number one song in the country.
and Michelle. Like her gospel albums. Hello, and
Right.
she's been on Broadway.
Correct.
She's been on Broadway. Whereas Boys to Men, none of them I know of have attempted to go solo. Really, I feel like Wanye has kind of gone off on his own,
Huh.
doing maybe duets with Brandy or with
Oh
other
my
people,
gosh, I
things
remember
like that.
back when they
Right?
were dating.
Mm-mm. Oh my goodness. But none of them have had the massive success individually that Destiny's Child has had. So
Yeah.
I think that that's something interesting to add to the conversation.
That's very interesting to add to the conversation. All right. Well, I started the first one, so you're gonna have to start this one.
Oh my God. I don't know. I don't. Okay. Here's what I'll say.
Okay.
Here's what I'll say. I'll say I love an underdog. And it's
Okay.
so crazy that in this scenario, I have to call Destiny's Child my underdog. But Destiny's Child is my underdog based on the amount of success that the numbers tell me that Boyz II Men have had and their longevity. Um, the only reason why I would press for Destiny's Child is because of
Mhm.
the things that I said. They've had about they've had very similar. Now, the only thing that is not similar is the amount of time their hits were hits, like the amount of weeks. That information I don't know, but it's not nearly
Well,
as
it's funny that you say that, Stephanie, because I just wanted to look. I just looked at independent women, right?
okay.
I was like, okay, let me look at independent women. Independent Women was number one for 11 consecutive weeks. That's
Okay.
that's not too shabby.
That is nothing to sniff at.
That is not
That's
shabby.
nothing to just set aside. Um Now that makes me want to look up Survivor and see how long because I feel like
Oh
that
my
would
goodness.
be
Survivor was never number one. That I don't believe that. That's
oh, I
crazy.
don't believe that.
Big as that. No, they peaked at number two. Oh,
Really? Oh,
are
I
you
got that fact
kidding me?
wrong then.
Survivor
Hmm.
peaked at number two.
Okay, I got that fact wrong. My
That's
apologies.
crazy.
Interesting.
Crazy, 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 crazy to me.
Hmm. Okay.
And then Bootylicious peaked at number one. Um, didn't doesn't say how long, but
Okay.
Bootylicious was their fourth and final U.S. number one.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
So that is the only thing I can say that would tip me towards Boys to Men is the longevity of their number one hits. It is a solid case for Destiny's Child
it
that
is
they had the amount of success that they did in half the time of Boys to Men.
correct,
And their individual success is
which led
massive.
on to literally we're now going on almost 30 years, and we're talking about the biggest probably artists of our generation who
Right,
spawned out of
right.
the shot. We're talking about someone who had in 2023, I'm getting chills just thinking about this, who had literally the biggest concert event of this year next
Absolutely.
to Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran. The
Yeah,
three of them and Beyonce Knowles. It we're, how are we still talking about this? Because
right.
if you add the solo careers, there's no comparison.
Right.
There's no comparison, but we're not. We're talking about 90s, early 2000s R&B groups. So
Okay, bring us
I
back.
have
Thank you.
to drop my gauntlet down and say I have to go with Boys to Men because to me, as a 90s kid, talking to a fellow 90s kid, nothing says 1990s R&B like Boys to Men. They were everywhere. They appealed to everyone, and they had, to me, the biggest song of all time
Mhm.
till last year, 2 years ago.
Right. You're right. You're right.
So I have to. That's my gauntlet drop to say nothing says 90s R&B. The fact that we didn't even put another song into conversation that started out when Stephanie in 96, 97. What grade were you in? Were you middle school?
96, 97. I was a freshman.
Okay, so Stephanie was a freshman in high school. I was a sophomore in college. And we're in our 40s. And we're still talking about that song. We're still talking about their songs because their other songs were right behind One Sweet Day, right? And One
Right.
Sweet Day had like two supernovas at the time coming together in Mariah, Carey, and Boyz II Men. But if you're
I'll
talking
never
The End of the
forget.
Road and you're talking I'll Make Love to You, that's Boyz II Men by themselves. So to me, Stephanie, nothing says Boyz II Men like 90s R&B groups. They are the 90s R&B group as far as I'm concerned. I'm gonna pass it back over to you, Stephanie. And what you say, Stephanie?
I say that I concede and I agree. When you put it like that, when I think of 90s to 2000s R&B group, you're right. One of the first groups that comes to mind is Boys to Men, and the songs that you've just listed are the songs that come to mind. So I completely agree and I stand down on
I can,
Destiny's Child.
out of all of these groups, I'm turning my phone over. I can ramble off probably 10 songs off the top of my head from Boys to Men.
Yeah.
I can start with
Yeah.
Motown Philly. It's so hard to say goodbye. Ah, Water Runs Dry. I'll Make Love to You.
End of
Uh,
the road.
the Road.
Hey lover. Hey
Hey,
lover.
let,
We'll do that one.
let it.
Let it snow.
I just it can just go on and on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I'm just gonna jump to ahead and I'm gonna crown in my book, Stephanie, Boys to Men, our grand champion. They are, in my opinion, the epitome of 90s R&B music and 90s R&B groups. No one, not even my beloved In Vogue, which we lost in the first round, or second round, excuse me.
Second round.
No one can come close to comparison. Destiny's Child put up a valiant fight, but to
Yes.
me, Stephanie, no one can come close to Boys to Men. What say you?
I completely agree. I completely agree. Yeah, I think that we said based on how the bracket was created that the left side of our bracket was very strong, very strong. The right
The
side
right
was
side
strong as
was strong in its. I would say the right side was strong, and when those hits on the right side bracket groups came out, those songs were everywhere on the radio, but for a
yes,
very short
absolutely.
period of time. Like for like it
Yes,
was
they
like
were like lightning.
a good summer bop, right? A
Yes.
lot of them were like out for the summer, and then you never heard from it again. right?
That's right. That's right. It was a lightning strike. It was like bam here and then bam
Gone.
gone.
Like, you better
Yeah.
collect your coint, as we say.
Right. Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
but again, the collaboration that Boyz II Men had, especially the Babyface collaboration, that to me was lightning in a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
It was lightning in a bottle. It was a song for Mama. I mean, come on, y'all. Like, the songs just keep coming up in my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just when you thought Boyz II Men was like during that whole era of the 90s, and I'm not talking about the late 90s, I'm talking about the 90s, because I think
Right.
Motown really hit 90 or 91, 90,
Something
91,
like that. Yeah.
and you got to take it all the way through, right? Yeah, there wasn't a bigger group. There wasn't
Right.
a bigger set of hits, string of hits.
Right. Right.
You knew when Boyz II Men released a song during that decade,
Mm-hmm.
10 years, you all. You knew when they released a song. You knew when they released an album. It was like Michael Jackson of the 80s, right? It was an
Yeah.
event. It was an event.
Yes.
Whether it be the video,
Yep.
the concert, the MTV appearances, the BET
Yeah.
appearances, the VH1 appearances, it was an event.
Absolutely. And it did not disappoint.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So, our grand champion is Stephanie. Give it the honors.
It is, again, Boyz II Men.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were technically up against 112. And, we already expressed our love and adoration for 112 in in this episode, in all the previous episodes, and we still feel that way. But Boyz II Men.
I just thought of something, an impossible battle I could never do.
What is that?
And that would be Wanya against Slim. Nope. I don't want to talk about it. I know. I knew your face would give me that reaction. I don't even want to talk about it. Wanya against Slim? Are you kidding me? Never. Never, 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 never.
I invite them to try. I would love to hear it for my own personal joy.
How do you choose?
How do you choose? Love them both. Love them both.
Serious. So, but wow, Boyz II Men did it. Boyz II Men did it.
They did it.
I had an inkling. If I didn't use that veto, that Boyz II Men was going to take it all. Because how could they not? And how could I not let Boyz II Men through? I don't think Stephanie would have forgiven me if I didn't let Boyz II Men through.
Based on who they were up against, I could have understood a passionate bid, and I could have understood. You wouldn't have been completely off based on who they were up against. They earned the right to at least make it to the finals.
Who they were up against, right?
Absolutely.
Like, part of En Vogue and TLC.
Absolutely. These are not easy decisions or choices, and I'm really surprised that you did not use your veto. But
no, I couldn't. Why? How can you with End of the Road, I'll Make Love to You, and One Sweet Day? Like, how could you not?
I understand.
I would say 3 out of the longest 5 number 1 hits are theirs.
Right.
Like, period.
Right. Period.
And then you got Old Town Road, and you got the song by Bieber, right? I think those are
Despacito. Yeah.
Right. I think those are it.
Yeah.
And 3 of them are Boyz II Men songs? Are you kidding me?
They shut it down.
KO.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not TKO. KO. Knock
right.
out.
Done.
Oh, Stephanie, that was so much fun.
Yes.
So much fun. We had a blast during this, you all. And thank you all so much for coming on this journey with us. We will be starting up season 24 of NBC's The Voice. I call it back to business.
Let's get back to business.
How not only passionate Stephanie and I are about a good vocal and a great performance, but we are passionate about the voice and the voice platform and the voices that come from the voice.
Oh, yes.
So bring on, and you know what? Don't get skimpy on us, NBC.
Don't. You
We
better
want
give us a full season.
I want all the lies that I'm entitled to.
Come on.
But you all know I love my battles.
No, I was going to say
And
battles.
I love my knockouts.
Come on. It's so exciting.
All the lives that we are entitled to. So, NBC,
Absolutely.
if you want to reach out to us, we'd love to talk to you because we just have a blast doing this. Stephanie and I don't get paid for this. It is out of pure joy for the art of singing.
Absolutely.
Point blank, period.
Yes.
Stephanie, you got anything you need to tell the Pitchies before we go?
I sure do. So don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Pitchy Podcast on your favorite podcast platform so you can be the first to know when we drop a new episode. And also check us out on YouTube. Search for the Pitchy Podcast and hit that subscribe button so you know when we drop a new video. And last, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Pitchy Podcast for new episode alerts, episode clips, and so much more.
Well, the next time you hear from us, we will be back to business, as I said earlier, and we will be talking about one of mine, Stephanie's favorite TV shows to talk about.
Yes.
And,
yes.
NBC's The Voice. So until we meet again, everyone, have a wonderful rest of your day and week.
Bye-bye.